You're listening to the Renegade Blitz, the best podcast for Steelers fans by Steelers fans. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at RBlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. Read articles on RenegadeBlitz.com, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Welcome back to the Renegade Blitz podcast. I'm Ty Polk with Chris Ward and Brandon Walker, who's ready for Penn State versus Rutgers this weekend. Congratulations, it's official. The boy's going national. He's going out on the road to go cover Penn State versus Rutgers. Congratulations, Brandon. And, of course, congratulations on, still being a part of the Steelers press conference brash. It's not this week because, he's going out to New Jersey. But we start this with the Steelers won 20-10. And you want to know something? It's a perfectly fine game, in my opinion. It might have been maybe not the most exciting, but TJ Watt was back. This defense looked pretty good. It got 2 interceptions. And Kenny Pickett in the second half was all right. I mean, that's just how it is right now as a Steelers fan. You're just hoping for improvement week by week. So, Brandon, as you were the one in the press box watching this game with a vested eye that me and Chris can't really see, your thoughts on this Steelers victory?
They won. The game was not aesthetically pleasing to watch, but they played well enough to win. Najee, I think we can say that the Najee Warren combination, mixing up the carries for them, finally will pay off. But the thing is, defense looked great. You can tell the difference, but the one thing about this is the one thing he needs to work on is trying not to get basically it was a lot of open receipt, a lot of it. And he took too many sacks and he took too many hits and he just ran for it instead of going down deep down the field. There's shots there. There was opportunities there. But a win is a win, no turnovers. And that's basically it. This was a non-notable game.
Yeah, like it wasn't really, like you guys mentioned, it wasn't a great game. Like I think I said in the text group that it was a mid game, or like if you're on Twitter and stuff, you know the lingo of that and everything. But Brandon, you pointed out how he didn't turn over the ball. His first game where he didn't throw an interception. So that's a positive part about it. He got injured in the Buccaneers game, so I don't think he threw a pick in that game. But every game that he played fully, he threw a pick. But I would like to see more touchdowns. He has only 2 touchdown passes in 5 starts and 2 quarters against the Jets. I know he's just a rookie and everything, but you would like to see a little bit more touchdown passes. I think I saw a stat today about he's in the same company as Ryan Leaf. I don't know if you guys saw that today.
Oh yeah, no. They had a stat like Jaguar Gator 9. I don't know if you heard of me. They said Ryan Leaf and 4 other people. No, not even him.
No, yeah, I think Jimmy Clausen was the other.
It was like a lot of other people that we never heard of from the 70s.
Maybe you're thinking of a different stat.
But
what does the stat you talk about?
I did see Ryan Leaf and Jimmy Clausen mentioned in there. I think touchdowns under 1% in 5 starts. Something like that.
Right, like they have more than 8 interceptions and less than 2 touchdowns. Like 2 or less interception and 8 or more.
I found it. It said Kenny Pickett with just 2 touchdown passes on 195 passing attempts joins Jimmy Clausen and Ryan Leaf as the only quarterbacks ever to have at least 190 passes and a touchdown percentage of 1% or lower. So, you don't want to be in company with Ryan Leaf, but Jimmy Clausen also wasn't good at all. But I know he's just a rookie and everything, and I don't want to make it more of a deal than what it needs to be. But I would like to see a little bit more touchdown pass. They should have beat the Saints. If Matthew Wright made 2 field goals, they would have beat him by 16 points. They should have put up more there. But if you look at all the stats, they really dominated the whole game. Defensively and offensively. I think they only gave up 186 yards of offense to the Saints, and they rushed for 217 yards. So it was just a completely dominating performance. But you would like to see it, get up in that 30 range. I think they only scored 30 points or more once under Matt Canada, during his tenure so far.
Yeah, this game kind of reminded me of the basically the first year Ben Roethlisberger, pre-Ben Roethlisberger Steelers, where some of these games you just sat through and were like, all right, this offense doesn't have it, but at least the defense was here. I think one thing we have to say right now is that Najee Harris, I'm pretty sure that 36-yard run outside, if it's not his longest run, the longest run probably is the swan song touchdown against the Browns for Ben Roethlisberger last year. I'm willing to bet that's the longest run of his career at this point.
It might be.
It could be. It's either that or the one the Browns last year. I think the Browns one was a little bit longer, but I'm not too for sure.
That's the swan song run.
Yeah, the 36-yarder was definitely second most, I think.
I'm really going to look at his stats because when I seen that 36er, I was like, that's got to be the longest run of his career, no doubt.
It could be. I know the game that you're talking about.
No, it's off by 1 yard, actually. I'm on ESPN right now. The longest run, 37.
Okay, so
it was one off.
One off, okay. Yeah, I mean, you like to see those explosive. Took to what game? Was it game 10 or game 9 to reach that? First 20+ yard run all season for the Steelers.
And Warren had a 20-yard run and Pickens. So yeah, 3
and Pickett too. 4 of them was the first time since 2011.
But
that 4 players had one game.
Yeah, but how bad are the Saints?
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
How bad are the Saints? They are terrible.
Andy Dalton as Sean Payton, he left them in ruins pretty much. They don't even have a first-round pick this year. And it's definitely going to probably be in the top 10. Right now, it's currently the 4th overall pick.
It's going to go to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Who the rich get richer.
What happened? Hold up. What happened to the Eagles last night? I forgot. I didn't see. I don't know what happened.
Now he wants to talk about the Commanders.
Be quiet. Be quiet. You horrible person. Before
when
I
asked about William Jackson III, when I asked about William Jackson III a couple of weeks ago, you're like, I don't follow that team.
Yeah, exactly. Out of nowhere, I'm seeing people who are Commanders fans just pop out of the woodwork. It's like the Homer Simpson meme. I'm like, I'm sitting here.
Oh no!
That.
I just want to laugh at. I don't know.
The fact
I
that
think
the state of Pennsylvania
since it's probably going to happen. Now they're going to start coming back.
Yeah, now that it's finally happening, it looks like they're one step away from getting rid of Dan Snyder. Here comes the football team. I was about to call them the other thing. You can't call them anymore, but here comes the football team.
Something about Washington and Ron Rivera, putting an end to undefeated streaks because they beat the Steelers last year. I don't know, in 2020.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania just
and
it's screwed over by Washington. I guess Fetterman had a point, but oh my God, jeez, it's just whatever. Congratulations to the Commanders. You ruined another Pennsylvania football team's unbeaten streak. Well done. Go to the playoffs. But I know I want to know your one thing you guys thought of. Another wide receiver scored a touchdown for the Steelers, and it's not Chase Claypool. it was George Pickens. Now, look, I understand it right now. The passing game for the Steelers is down horrendous, but is it a good thing that a rookie wide receiver is getting used in a variety of situations like this, even if it's not necessarily the situations that me and you would really want?
At least he's getting the ball. If you can find a way to get Pickens the ball, I'm all for it. I don't like the 86 jet sweeps, but yeah, gotta get the kid the ball.
I thought it was back at Cannon McMillan for a second. Wide receiver scoring off a reverse. What else? I mean, it was a big game for the defense. Of course, I think that really proved overall how important TJ Watt is to this team, because this defense had an overnight transformation, really, when you look at it. I mean, Devontae KZ, you might not like that penalty that he had against himself, but he still got that interception. Of course, Levi Wallace got an interception, but I think it was generated off of the fact that this team has at least somewhat not somewhat anymore. Now they have a pass rusher again, and it just creates more attention for everybody else, because if you have TJ Watt against you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, TJ Watt, his presence, played a huge role. Alex Highsmith had 2 sacks. He is 8.5 now in 9 games. Who else played well though? I mean, they all really like. You guys want? Spillane had a good game. So it was pretty much a whole team effort there on defense.
Yeah, it was a nice little team effort, team win. Even your boy had made some nice plays. Ty,
that's your boy. That's your boy. I'll always say that's your boy, man. That's not my boy. You're the one always with an eagle eye out there for Devin Bush. I can't. I'm not. Devin Bush's name doesn't pass my mind until this podcast, or if he does something positive. So, yeah. But he did have a really good rush. I will say that. There was one pass rush. I think he got negated by false start, I believe, that he had a free line straight to Dalton. And that was probably, seriously, with the speed he showed, that looked like a rookie Devin Bush. That was like, whoa, I didn't expect him to get on him that fast.
Right. Dang, 6 sacks they gave up, the Steelers.
How many do you think were on Pickett though? Like probably at least 3.
4.
You think 4?
4.
He just held onto the ball and was running
Cam
around.
Jordan only had a half a sack. Which when I think of 6 sacks, I think he's got at least 2 or 3. So the fact that the Steelers walk away from this with only half a sack from him, and even Demario Davis, the other leading sack man for them, didn't get it. They gave up a sack to basically Chris Harris Jr., which was probably a big about 6 years ago when he was a Bronco.
I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I was like, when I heard Chris Harris,
he's in the league still.
You got to earn a paycheck somehow, man.
But yeah, because it was. I was like, this game was mid.
It was set up for the Steelers to win. The Saints were coming off a Monday night game. The Steelers were coming off their bye. The Saints had a bunch of injuries. The Steelers, they didn't have Minka with the appendix thing. I don't think we didn't talk about that yet, but I guess Tomlin today said he's optimistic that he's going to play on Sunday, which
he should at least this week.
But
he shouldn't play at least this week. He should get out one more game because that's 8 days.
Yeah.
Who else has an appendix issue right now?
Joey Porter Jr. That's why Franklin said it was a non-football.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's crazy. He was like, nobody even knew, but hey, But you guys want to risk their health? This is an appendix here.
Yeah. And Casey, like Ty mentioned, he played really well. That hit, is kind of controversial. Like, that hit in the 90s would have been legal and stuff, but the way the game is, like, he left his feet too. It's just kind of like the way concussions and everything, like, that's going to get called every time. But
so what did you think about this game last night? That call last night. That
I didn't watch the game, but I did see the clip. But I don't know. It looked pretty weak, in my opinion.
It was weak. I even as a NFC East aficionado that likes it was a ticky-tack call. But by the letter of the law, that is the rule. He gave himself up. You're not allowed to touch him, and you touched him. So therefore, you go in and take your penalty and sit down on the bench, and you lose. And I'm not even going to sing that new fight. That is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Had to catch yourself there, huh? but yeah, on the KZ hit, Chris, you say left your feet, and I'm just sitting here. I get NHL vibes every time I hear of a bad hit, left feet, with all that. I mean, I hope they finally get together. Like, what is a proper football hit anymore? I understand that it's wanting to go low into the chest or something like that, but man, it's just so much these days.
Tough, yeah. Gone are the days of the jacked up on Monday Night Countdown and everything.
Yeah, that used to be.
Yeah, it's just concussions, man. That's like those are serious things and everything. The league's they had lawsuits and they're trying to cut down on plays like that. But Casey was just trying to make a play. He was trying to break up the pass and stuff. But maybe if he didn't leave his feet, because he really I don't think he got his helmet. I think it was more shoulder, but the leaving the feet part I think is what
Sorry about that. It seems like I have cutouts every time that I try to go look at the box score for the Steelers and the Saints. So I'm just going to stop making my computer think so hard. But
I have the box score here, Ty.
Well, you have printouts because you have printouts, buddy. So I don't. I already had to put enough mileage into my computer for other things that I do around here that require a ton of prints. So that's just another thing. So now next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. And, of course, a lot has changed since that first game of the season in which the Steelers really shocked the world. And at that point, at least went past our expectations. Now, of course, new quarterback, new situation with it. But it seems that the Bengals, at this time, coming off a really impressive game against Carolina in which Joe Mixon put up maybe one of the top fantasy performances of all time, and he was on my bench. But yeah,
they're coming off a bye, or they're not.
Yeah, something like that.
A bye?
55 points.
No. They were on a bye last week.
They're coming off their bye. So what's the expectation of this now? Now that TJ Watt's back. There's no Minkah Fitzpatrick, but there's been enough in the intermediary between that first game and this where you could probably say that maybe the Steelers secondary might come up big, but I'm leaning towards no.
But they don't have Jamar Chase for this game.
That is true. That is one big thing, and he was huge as always for any of their chances, and also that first game of the season. But I'd like to believe that Cincinnati still has enough weapons. They have Joe Mixon, who in his last couple games against the Steelers has been making mincemeat out of the Steelers run game.
Yeah, and Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, they still have good two good receivers. Their offensive line has been struggling. So TJ Watt's coming back. He had a monster game in week 1. So that's something to watch. But defense. They're getting back DJ Reader. He might play this week. Not for sure yet, but that'll be a big addition. That was a close game. Obviously, like the Bengals probably, if they had a healthy long snapper, they would have won that game. But sure they're going to try to come some payback from that week 1 loss. I agree. I have kind of a hard time. If the Steelers win this game, I think they have a good chance to go like 8-9, and they'll have like a high teens pick.
Yeah. It's going to be.
I just don't think this team is going to lose against anyone in the NFC South. That's the one thing. I feel like this team is. It took out the one hard team, which was the Bucs, and now they seem to found their way over the last few weeks.
Yeah,
I don't. And Atlanta is always Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when it comes to anything, so that's still up in the air. And who knows?
The Colts won.
Yeah,
the Colts won.
The Colts won. So maybe I could jump off the ledge that I thought I was gonna. Maybe I could hold off of jumping off the ledge that I thought I was going to.
Yeah,
with them, but Josh McDaniels should be fired. That's another thing. But
yeah. we'll get to that when we get to them.
So, I really want a Raiders reporter for that game.
What do you guys think about Bill Cowher's comments on the hiring of Jeff Saturday?
Bill Cowher needs to shut.
Did you see what Pat McAfee said?
He told him to shut up and use an expletive in that.
Yeah, he needs to. Bill Cowher, shut the fuck up.
I'm just like,
no.
Do something about it, Bill. You got. Bill, you can go take that Colts job.
You got a job at 34 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Job at 34.
Yeah, but here's the difference between him and Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, what was
Bill Cowher was a special teams coordinator in this league. He also coached a bit in the pro level of this league. So
okay.
And they're always going to hire young coaches in this league, especially to try to figure out and rebuild a franchise. That's what the Steelers are going to do whenever Mike Tomlin is gone. And that's where I'm going to have a segue later to that, because I've seen an interesting thing from Jacinda Anderson about 3 long tenured coaches in this league. When you take a look at this, I'll tell you later. When you take a look at it, look, it was all bad business with that. I don't see why Jeff Saturday was hired for this, especially whenever he was coming off the high school ranks and didn't really seem like he was going to move up into, at the very least, some level of NCAA college ranks, not even a junior college somewhere. He was coaching a high school team. Why was that hire made? But right now, Jim Irsay and the Colts are looking like geniuses, and Matt Ryan turned into Vanilla Vic.
Yeah, it was definitely out of nowhere. Like when I saw it from Adam Schefter, I thought it was a fake account. With everything going on Twitter. I see where Cowher's coming from. There's a lot of coaches that could have deserved that opportunity more. But, at the end of the day, Jim Irsay went with Saturday, and Saturday was a consultant. Like he's spoke with the Colts weekly and everything. So kind of like the more I think about it, at first I thought oh yeah, Cowher's right. And then the more I think about maybe he was kind of a little bit too harsh on the whole thing.
He was what was his, and what is his qualifications of being on TV?
Yeah. That's for a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. We've been doing all this for years. Chris, you do Friday Night Lights, and you're going to be doing the Dukes.
Yeah, but
and then hold up.
Oh.
I don't know that any of the games. I get to go to my first Penn State game, but I'm going to Rutgers, the birthplace of football. It took me years to get that. You know what I mean? Ty, you're doing college D3 hockey and volleyball.
And basketball. And also high school sports.
I'm not doing Friday Night Lights because I get to take this 6-hour drive to New Jersey. We all have the right to be pissed off at Bill Cowher because he gets a fucking job with the $20 million a year. I don't whoever.
Yeah,
I mean, Deadspin right now is trying to make a stink between Ian and Noah Eagle, and I'm like, look, man, I'm trying to work every connection I have, trying to get up higher as well. That's
what I mean.
I hope that in the future that my son or my daughter can follow in the footsteps of hopefully me going on to be something bigger than whatever I ever dreamed of. To be honest,
we have to go through.
Yeah, and like I said, the more I thought about, I saw a comment on Facebook where saying that Bill Cowher was being an elitist and everything. And it kind of made me think, maybe because I didn't really expect Steelers fans to, a lot of Steelers fans were kind of bashing Cowher for this statement.
Yeah, because he took over for the legendary Chuck. No, what was his qualifications?
Yeah.
What?
He played 3 years in the league.
I don't care what. No. He was an average player. I mean, no, he was a below average player. I never actually.
He was special teams. Yeah.
He was
special teams linebacker.
He was mid in the league as a player. I guess he was. I don't know what he coached at where Kansas City before the Steelers.
Yeah,
that was more Marty's thing. That was a Marty Schottenheimer team, and whenever he was there, Marty built that team, and then he learned from Marty for the years he was there, and he had it to his Pittsburgh, his hometown team. Cowher Power. He got the Cowher Power thing going, got it rolling, and parlayed to the Hall of Fame career. I don't know if it's deserved. I don't think he's an elite coach all time, but that's another story for another day. But
all right,
no power bashing.
All right, so now that I basically put the tease earlier in the episode, Jacinda Anderson on Twitter put this out. This January will be an interesting in the NFL coaching carousel cycle. There's talk behind the scenes as to whether one of the 3 NFL longest tenured head coaches will step down after this season or next as these lists get compiled in preparation for vacancies. We'll see. So basically, it's saying in the next 2 years, these are the 3 longest tenured coaches in the NFL. And I guess maybe you can add in Pete Carroll if you want to, in a way. You have Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh. And maybe you can put in Pete Carroll in there because I think he's the 4th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it's the tenure with the team, right? Or career wise.
Yeah, tenure with the team.
Yeah,
tenure with team.
Okay, yeah, I would be shocked if it was Tomlin. The only reason why, he's a football junkie and everything, but the only reason why I think he would retire would be probably because his kids, maybe because but I think his oldest son's he's almost done with he's a 5th-year senior soon, I think.
Yeah,
his oldest son was balling out for Boston College the other
yeah.
night.
So
I was actually watching that game.
Yeah, so it'll be his 5th year next year. So I mean, the only reason maybe watch his 2 sons play college football, maybe, but from reading the comments, a lot of people think it's going to be hardball. They don't think Belichick's ready to leave. So
no, but Belichick is gonna die in that hoodie on that field. Bill Belichick loves football too much. Loves coaching football too much. Pete Carroll, he's another football lifer that loves football too much.
They all are really.
I mean, they all love football, and Harbaugh is the same. They're all the same. I don't know. If anything, you want to factor age into it, I would say Belichick.
Yeah.
But Tomlin ain't going. You know what? If you want to get out of the 4.
Also, don't forget Andy Reid is also on that list. He would be the 5th. He would be.
I could see Andy Reid stepping aside. To be honest,
I could see him stepping aside. I would see him stepping aside. He got his ring. His legacy has been forged. I think if Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, I could see him passing it to Bieniemy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just like
that seems like the way that the roadmap for Eric Bieniemy to be a head coach in this league.
I could see it passing it to him.
Yeah.
I think there's a ton of people that are likely, and of course with this tweet, as I see in Jacinda Anderson's tweets, a lot of people are putting Mike Tomlin to the Saints, ironically. And a lot of people are also saying, obviously, Tomlin. It seems like the big one has been Tomlin. Like everyone's saying Belichick, every other one, and it's also one person actually said Pete Carroll in here. I think that Pete Carroll, everybody thinks of his energy and thinks he's much younger than what he was.
He's 72.
He's 72. I thought he was in his early 40s at USC. When I was told he was older, I was like, wow, he has a ton of energy than what I expected. But I'll put it to you like this: if Tomlin's done, most likely, I don't know if he wanted to coach again. He feels like a lifer with the organization, unless things go dramatically south from here on out. I just don't see it with him. And maybe that's very much rose-colored glasses because look at the hat that I have on in this podcast. But I see it more being Harbaugh seems like a good idea because of the Lamar situation and contract. It could all go out the window if Lamar gets his contract.
Oh, man.
Because I think he would be the one to continue. Out of all the coaches that we just mentioned, he's number one on he would find another job in this league.
Real quick. I would see Carolina snatching him up real quick. Easily.
And it would be the smartest move that Carolina franchise has ever done. I mean, that's a lot to say. But out of those five, it's Harbaugh that I'd say would most likely get another job in this league, and it's arguably if he wants it. I don't think he's gonna do anything too insane out there. I don't think he's gonna drop off the professional coaching landscape and decide, yeah, let's go to college now or anything like that. No,
he'll be a head coach again, or he'll be a broadcaster. Because he seems like he's intellectually enough to go through it.
I'm pretty sure if his brother didn't work out, he'd probably be a broadcaster as well somewhere. But there's a lot to unpack with that statement, and I guess we'll find out over January because that's you take a look up. We're only about 6 or so weeks away from that.
Yep.
But what else do we got here, guys? If anything, anything else we want to add from around the league?
I don't have anything yet. But
No, I don't got anything.
We're not going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger and his podcast, the podcast where we talk about podcasts. Was it? He had Heath Miller on there.
Because he was at the thing. He was getting hard. He does it after games. Ben does. So he was there. Ben was there because I bumped into him.
Oh yeah, you got to tell us about that elevator ride.
It was nothing. I just saw him in the elevator. That's all. Like I didn't really say nothing to him. I was like, huh.
How big was he in person? Big Ben.
Big Ben was about as big as he's built to be. Big. And then that's it. Last time I saw the beautiful Mrs. Bush. Sunday I saw Ben.
Yeah, and you were also sending us photos of you with Canada Dry ginger ale.
Yes.
You gave it to Chris Carter.
We didn't even there was the rule. The rule was this, and we didn't even drink it that much. If they had a 3 and out, we take a swig. If they turn the ball over, we take a swig. If they scored a touchdown, we sarcastically take a swig.
My goodness, you have corrupted Chris Carter. I'm not sure about Ray, but you have definitely corrupted Chris Carter with your influence.
How did I corrupt him?
Your Canada Dry thing, man. And how have you not gotten that trademarked? How? We could be selling shirts. We could be moving merch. You could put yourselves into the pantheons of catchy media sayings like that. That's gonna be.
It ain't go. But the thing is, some college is gonna be doing that next year though.
Oh come on, man! Come on, man! I could see the. You're lucky we're not a town like the New York Post, because someone definitely would have took that by now. The 15 million T-shirt companies on the South Side would have definitely stole that by now. You need to trademark that, and I mean stat, Brandon.
Could.
But anyway, enough about ginger ale out there. We'll probably get some because it's Christmas time almost. That's Chris Ward. That's Brandon Walker. I'm Ty Polk. Thank you for listening to the Renegade Blitz.
Thank you for listening to the Renegade Blitz podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at @RBlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. Read articles on renegadeblitz.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. The Renegade Blitz podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you can listen to podcasts.